This one thing I read about was in the 1600s, there was an impotence court. So if you could get divorced, if your wife if you wanted a divorce, the wife wanted a divorce, the only way out was you had to go to this court and you had to prove that your husband is impotent and can't get his dick up. So the court were there, and then you'd have to perform the act. And if the husband couldn't get it up, you have to have sex in front of people, couldn't get it up, would grant you the divorce because that was the only grounds that it was necessary for. And
right, because you needed procreation.
You needed procreation. That's what this is about.
So you wouldn't deny a woman's ability to procreate.
Right.
The man can't get an erection, so you could leave him.
And then I think if he did prove his manhood and have sex with her and get a hard-on and come, I think then he had the legal right to kill her. For even taking him to court.
So if you can fuck her in front of everybody, then he can kill her?
Yeah, isn't that like wild how times used to... Because
you were fucking brutal, man.
It's not that long ago.
No.
Like, we have the same brain as them, right?
Yes.
We're just more civilized. It's not like our brain has went over this insane evolution yet.
Exactly.
I have that guy's brain.
Everybody
but I just don't do it. Like, I'm not... I guess we're more societal pressures not to do it.
Well, also, society has changed where we have more access to information. We know how other people feel. Back then, they didn't care.
Dude, isn't that what?
Yeah.
Like the smartest, like the Elon Musks and the, Stephen Hawkins of like that time thought like they thought that the sun went around the earth, and they were, the sun went around, like they
thought the earth was the center of the universe.
The earth was the center of the universe. And like they were as confident as our smart people saying, we are positive that it's the other way.
Sort of.
Right?
But when Copernicus and all these different people figured out that wasn't the case, Galileo.
No, I know that, but I'm saying, so what do you think today we believe in that we will be disproved in a major way? Like, because as this, when Copernicus and Galileo came out and said, I'm sure it's the other way, I have the proof. And then everybody was like, wait, what? What do you think today is we're believing as fact, even you and me are believing, but it's going to be disproven? If you had a hunch, what do you think it is?
That's an interesting question.
Thank you.
I don't know. I don't know what it would be, obviously, because obviously if there's a thing that we all believe today, like how the fuck could I know that would be the thing that would? Oh my god!
I mean, I couldn't do that. If you want to ask me to, it's very difficult.
Crazy.
There's no way to be able to get hard.
Imagine you're in court and you got to fuck.
They're also saying that divorce was illegal then.
Okay.
So most of these would have to come from the women, and most of their majority, like 20% of the cases, it was from nobility. So like rich women were saying,
"Oh boy,
my husband can't get it hard."
So they have to, and then you would have to prove it. I'm not. That's real.
Yeah, and then it was on whichever partner actually was found to not be able to get it up had to pay for the court proceedings and lawyers and everything.
They were checking a woman's wetness? Like, what do you mean?
In theory, I guess it could happen the other way. They could say the woman's impotent.
Or a woman can't give birth. That's a big thing. You can't give birth to sons.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big thing. King Henry VIII, right? He killed all his wives, and he was the one that was controlling the sex. But science didn't know that yet.
The thing is also that, boy... When human beings used to have fertility rituals, like they were always trying to reproduce because people died so early.
Yeah.
Like people died of everything. They died broken leg, dead, injury, dead, infection, dead, blood infection, sepsis, dead. Everybody just died. Like that's when people look at like the average age of people back then, people only lived to 30. That's really because there was so much infant mortality, and infant mortality and childhood mortality factors into that, because like half your kids were going to die. It's not like today. You have 5 kids. The 5 kids are at my grandfather's house. Yeah. Hey, everybody's grown up now. They have kids of their own. Hey. Back then, everybody died.
So you're saying back then, there were still plenty of 50, 60, and 70-year-olds walking around.
There's probably a few, that like dodged bullets and made it to that way and fucking pulled arrows out of their back. But the bottom line is like it's the same. What's that guy's boner? Why are you showing us this?
Yeah. This gets into saying that like it had to go. Big dicks were an issue back then or something. They were using this statue as a scarecrow in many places because it was
hard dicks.
Hard dicks.
I mean, everybody probably.
So they'd tie their dick off, get a boner, probably tie a little rope around the base of their balls and everything, and keep it hard. Look at what I got here.
Yeah, look at my fat cock. I think back then, too, I think that soldiers, I read a lot of stuff about the Roman soldiers. I think Greek soldiers were like, had wives and kids, but on the battlefield, night before was totally okay to be gay, have an intimate relationship, because they thought you have to be in love with the man you're protecting next to you in order to protect him in the right way.
That's what the Spartans felt, right?
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Oh, because that's who it was then.
Yeah, but there's a lot of like gay sex going on back then. I think people did a lot of gay stuff and a lot of pedastry,
bestiality, right?
Yeah.
I think we have a lot of terms now for shit, but I think back then, like James Buchanan, who was the president before Abraham Lincoln, they used to call him. He didn't have a wife. He had a senator who was like, they would call him Aunt Nancy. That was like their nickname for him because they were like, these two guys are gay, right? But the public at the time knew that, but didn't care. Your sexuality was never in the minds of the American voter in the 1800s. That came later. I don't know when it came, but I was fascinated to read that. I was like, oh, wow, back then when you think that, you know, people must have been much more conservative back then, they were like, no, we don't give a shit at all. Like, just get the country in order. And actually, it plays a part because James Buchanan being, you know, possibly gay and with this guy, and, you know, calling him Aunt Nancy, this senator boyfriend of his was a senator from the South. And it was James Buchanan's presidency because he was giving all these favors to, they think, his boyfriend of that state that tipped the balance scales and kind of caused the Civil War.
Whoa.
That's what they say. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have the hard facts on it, but I remember reading that and I was like, yo, that's fucking wild. Where like you just like Abraham Lincoln kind of took over a country that was the roller coaster had went down. He could not stop it.